In a remote African village surrounded by arid plains, there stood a colossal baobab tree older than memory itself. The villagers called it Chaitema, Chisingoperi, the eternal shadow, because it was said that the tree could not rest, even in death. Every year, as the harmattan winds swept through the land, whispers began to rise from the baobab. These whispers grew louder and more sinister as Christmas drew near. The elders warned never to approach the tree during the Christmas season, for it was believed that on this night, the baobab became a gateway to the Rima Rimwi, the eternal abyss where malevolent spirits roamed. It was a place where the condemned wandered endlessly, drawn to human lives to claim them as their own. The village had its traditions. Fires burned bright at every doorway, protective charms were hung, and no one dared to walk the streets alone. But this year was different. The baobab was restless, its branches groaning and its roots shifting like buried serpents. One night, children playing near the edge of the village claimed they saw something crawl out of the baobab, a figure thin and crooked, dragging itself across the dusty ground. The next morning, the children fell silent, their voices stolen by whatever they had seen. The villagers feared that something worse was coming. Tendai, a curious boy of 13, had always been fascinated by the baobab. His grandmother told him the tree had once been a person, an ancestor who had betrayed their family during a sacred ritual. For their sins, they were cursed to stand as a tree forever, a living reminder of the ancestors' wrath. One night, despite his grandmother's warnings, Tendai crept out with a small lantern to investigate. The tree loomed large in the moonlight, its bark glistening as though it were sweating. Tendai whispered, "Are you alive?" The whispers answered him, not from the tree, but from all around. "Do you seek answers, child? Or do you seek us?" Before he could turn to flee, the ground beneath him cracked open, and he fell into a chasm of darkness. Tendai awoke in a world unlike any he had known. The sky above was black, and the ground was made of ash. Figures moved in the distance, humanoid shapes with hollow eyes and mouths, stitched shut. They stumbled toward him, their steps slow but deliberate. The whispers returned, louder and clearer now. "Every Christmas, we rise to claim what we lost, life. But life comes at a cost, child. What will you offer us?" Tendai stammered, "I have nothing to offer." The spirits hissed in unison, "Then we will take your soul." But Tendai remembered his grandmother's stories. She had always told him that the spirits of Chaitema, Chisingoperi, could be calmed if one spoke the true name of the cursed ancestor. The problem was, no one in the village knew it, no one except the tree itself. Summoning his courage, Tendai spoke to the air around him. "Tell me your name, and I will free you." The spirits paused. A deep voice, rumbling like thunder, emerged from the darkness. "You are brave, child, but bravery is not enough. Swear to carry my name to the living, so they will never forget me." With no other choice, Tendai agreed. The voice spoke the name, Hemba. When Tendai awoke, he was back at the foot of the baobab, but something was different. His shadow stretched unnaturally long, even under the dim moonlight. It twisted and flickered as though it had a life of its own. The village rejoiced when Tendai returned, but he no longer smiled. At night, he would sit near the tree, muttering the name Hemba under his breath. As the years passed, the baobab grew taller and darker, and Tendai grew quieter and thinner. On Christmas Eve, decades later, the villagers found Tendai sitting beneath the tree, lifeless, his body twisted in an unnatural pose. The baobab had claimed him, just as it had claimed countless others before. Now, every Christmas, the whispers from the baobab grow louder, repeating one name over and over, Hemba. And it is said that anyone who hears the name too many times will feel compelled to visit the tree, their fate sealed as another offering to the eternal shadow. The baobab that never sleeps waits for its next victim, its whispers carried by the wind, haunting all who dare to listen.